I wanted to talk a little bit about, I always like to think, what if I were truly in your shoes this morning? And you are professionals in what you do. And somebody came, whether through email or stopped you in the hallway and said, I'd really like your input today for our strategic planning process for the magnet journey. What really went through your head then? I think most people are like, strategic plan, spare me. It's not the profession that you got into. It's not what you normally do. And we typically think of a lot of meetings, a lot of work to do these voluminous documents that sit on a shelf. Hey, I've got a real job to do every day. But I want to talk a little bit about the strategic plan, just about 10 minutes to talk about why is it that we do them and why they're so important. I want to simplify a strategic plan for you. Once we talk about strategies and tactics and action plans and objectives and goals, people start invariably getting caught up in, wait, was that one of our objectives or was that the goal statement? Well, wait, was that a tactic or was that an objective? We get all confused in the lingo, and we're going to make that really simple today. But the purpose of the strategic plan is directional. Somebody thought that individual knew what they were doing, but they went the wrong direction. And the fact is that individual would have done a lot better and not gotten underwater if they had the input of a lot of other people. If there'd just been some bystanders on the dock or on the ramp saying, no, back up, they would have helped. And the reason each and every one of you are here today is so that someone administratively doesn't start to put the car in the wrong direction and say, you're part of that input today to help us with that direction. Strategic plan would be really, really easy if the target were very visible. But that target is not that big and it's always shifting, and so finding it. But one of the things that we find helps us hit that target is if we have the right tools. So one of the things that we're going to be providing with you, and then you're going to be in back providing with us, are some of the right tools that we can use to make this thing work overall. Naturally, we start with MUSC's vision and mission and values. But today we're going to be translating that down to nursing and the magnet journey and what are our vision and mission and values. We're going to take it on really just a very clean tiered process, because the one thing for sure, whether it's with Joint Commission, whether it's with accreditations across the university, if there is not an alignment that shows we are all working towards the same goal, there's almost 12,000 people in this village of MUSC who all have resources to work us towards a goal. So we're always wanting to map out that we have a university overall strategic plan, and then we have MUHA's strategic plan that Stuart has gone through the 7 driving strategies, and that drives into the nursing strategic plan, which then drives into operationalizing that through each of the action plans on an annual basis through the pillar structure. And no matter where you are in the university structure, as long as that process takes place, it's really easy to explain. And what we want is anybody sitting bedside or sitting back in the IT, information technology area, or somebody sitting administratively, we're all driving our resources towards the same thing. It's that simple. So here's a little background on strategic planning that frames some of the philosophy of how you're going to be engaged through the rest of today. I look at it with the P4 over Q2 strategy. Very, very simple. P4 is we have people, we have programs, we have the promotions, and we have our pocketbooks. And in every strategy that we come up with, every goal that we set, we need to be thinking at the P4. Do we have the correct people? Do we have enough people to do it? Do we have the right programs in place to enact this? Are we giving it the correct promotion? And I thought Stuart's overview of where we are with promotion and things that stick and what moves people in action. And do we have the right financial pocketbook? If one of those is missing, we can come up with the greatest idea in the world, but if we don't have that, then within that idea is how are we going to get that? Because those 4 things are going to be necessary. And then we overlay those over, do we have it at the right quality level and the right quantity level to make those things work? And literally, if we just keep in mind that P4 over Q2 in the planning process, it's amazing how it works. One of the things, we do have some extra pens today. You're going to be engaged through giving us input. So if there's anybody out here who does not have a pen available to write with, would you please raise your hand and don't be shy about it? And we've got some extras. Julie, can you help with just passing out a couple at the tables? Thank you, because we definitely want to gain everyone's input. You may want to put a note somewhere on your agenda of just what are the P4Q2. So as you're thinking through your process today and you're being engaged, if all of a sudden you hit one of those brain blanks that we all get, then you can go back and think, is there something with people? Is there something with promotions? Is there something with the pocketbook? What is it? Is there a quality initiative? Is there quantity? It'll help spark some additional thought as to what you may be working on. This is very simply a three-tiered process. We mentioned it before. This allows us to achieve success for today, for our nursing strategic plan, for the magnet journey. We are starting at the top level with what are our nursing objectives. We're going to drive those down into the goals that we want to accomplish in order to meet those objectives. That's going to be our common language for today. Our top nursing objectives, and what are the goals with all of your input we should be focused on in order to meet those objectives. And those will then go into action plans, which feed into the pillars. Very simple, three-tiered process, consistent along the way. Just a little graphic that drives it. I think we all got the idea now, but we start with our mission and purpose always. If we vary from our mission, we ought to really be questioning what we're doing. So that is without a doubt the top level. It's why we exist, it's what we do. And then we look at our current state of affairs, where we are, and this directional plan is to drive us to the future. I heard one of the greatest definitions of leadership. I think it's so simple and so appropriate. Leaders bring the future to the present. Think about it. Leaders bring the future to the present. Across the 6,500 or so people within the medical center that make it work, the fact is, many of them day to day, they aren't worried about bringing the future into the present. They're doing today's job. But we as leaders have to help bring that future present. So we'll start with our nursing objectives. Defines what success looks like for us in meeting our vision and our mission. And then the goals help provide us those things that we will measure in a 3 to 5 year time frame. One of the most common questions of a strategic plan is, so how long should we do this thing? Well, we know we make plans annually, and we set goals annually. We have metrics annually. We know those are important things to achieve. But we have to have that directional thing that takes us out longer. It used to be strategic plans were 7 to 10 years. The one that was referenced that Stuart first talked about, done way back when, that was a 10-year plan. And then you realize by the time you hit 5 years, the world has changed. And there's really not much reason to go out beyond 5. And we found the most effective planning really is looking on about a 3-year time frame, and then we'll find enough things have changed and happened and unexpected that if after that point we ought to be reevaluating years 4 and 5. But again, directionally, we want to take it in that 3 to 5 year planning time frame. So just a graphic to implant. Strategic plan, the MUHA strategic plan, the nursing strategic plan, and today we're working on the bottom block, which is the nursing objectives and the goals and action plans that'll meet those. So, very clear where we are. Final thing to let you know, one of the things that the Transformative Leadership Work Group has spoken about is we've got to have a check-in on this process. You just can't do the plan and then start driving the darn car. You've got to check in periodically and say, how are we doing against it? So an important part of the planning process, just so you know, is that we are recommending that there are monthly and quarterly reviews. And the monthly reviews will be done at a very high level, but on a quarterly review, we want to look with that transformative work group and say, are we on track? Is there some new dynamic we need to consider in making this work? So there is going to be a check process through this, so this certainly is not something that will sit on the shelf by any means. So, we're going to start the process of getting you engaged. We're going to take a quick break, and we're, again, right on time. We scheduled for a 10:30 break to 10:45. Please take use of the added bathrooms that we have here. When you come back, we're going to start a process of breaking you up by tables and get you into some table exercises to begin the input process. So look forward to starting back with you in just a little bit. We'll see you soon.